Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, host of the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. Today I'm joined, as always, I really messed that whole thing up.
That's fine.
It was so out of order. Let me try again.
Well, we're kind of thrown for a loop today because it's just friend and co-host.
It's just
right
friend
now.
and co-host, yeah. Let me try that whole thing again because I really messed that up, and that's like the whole rhythm. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my friend and co-host
Shane Brisland.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a lot to get to this week. We are going to go over the NHL news along with NHL second round predictions for the playoffs, NBA playoff news, and NBA predictions for the second round as well. And last but definitely not least, NFL news and a recap of the NFL draft. Our third host, Peter Kegwin, will be in probably at some point today. We do not know. Caleb will not be joining us today. Yeah.
He's
Anyway.
got senior class engineering stuff to do, so he can make it, unfortunately.
Anyway, before we get into all of everything for this week, Shane, how have you been doing?
In one word, anxious.
Oh.
I took one of my 3 finals that I have in the next 48 hours. We got an 84. We got a C in marketing. So
All right.
we're done with one class down, 3 more to go. So we're just trying to get through it and just finish it off this semester on a strong note.
Yes, sir.
How about you, Jeremy? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've got like a lot of work that I've been procrastinating on that I've got to do.
That tends to happen
But
towards the end of the year.
Other than that, I'm doing great. I've got just a bit of work to do. Yeah. I've got so much work to do.
Well, let's focus on the work we have right now.
Yes, we have we're going to start in the NHL. A lot of stuff happened. The first round ended. Toronto advanced?
First time in 19 years.
That sentence doesn't sound correct coming out of my mouth. But
Yeah.
Toronto has made it past the first round. Snaps for them.
I never thought I'd see the day.
Me neither, quite honestly. I made a whole lot of, they're going to make it this year, but
Did you actually believe it?
not really.
And I've been a very staunch supporter in I can't put my faith in Toronto unless they actually do it, and they actually did it.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so crazy.
I must say though, it was just Tampa looked just tired, exhausted. They were battling some injuries. Their back end was riddled with injuries. Hedman wasn't playing healthy. They lost Chernak to a concussion in game 1, and they had to get rid of pieces because of salary cap and expansion draft. So Tampa was in desperate need of a retool and just being able to get healthy after going to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. That team was probably just tired, and this was Toronto's year.
Yeah,
All the bounces went their way, and it's about time.
Dude, 3 years of basically consecutive hockey is insane.
Yeah.
For the Lightning.
Yeah.
That's so much hockey to play for their guys, and I know last offseason they kind of got a little gutted a little bit, but they still had their core.
Yeah, they still have Kucherov, they still have Point, they still have Stamkos, Hedman's going to come back healthy. The core is still there. Tampa is not gone yet, but a team that has a more uncertain future and who surprisingly lost in the first round, the Boston Bruins.
Yes.
What happened?
The President Cup trophy curse lives on once more.
Yeah.
I mean, what is there to chalk it up to? They were up 3-1 in that series. I think they let their foot off the gas.
So, I think the moment they lost that series was in Game 5.
When Ullmark gave away the goal.
When Ullmark literally gave the puck to a Florida Panthers player, and So the Florida Panthers player threw it at the front of the net. Ullmark scrambled to try to get back into position. He made the initial save, but he's on his butt. And who is in front of the net with the puck? Matthew Tkachuk, quite possibly the best player in that series, there to finish that game in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where they lost the series. Just because that dumb luck, and then Ullmark just didn't look the same for the rest of the series, and then they had to put in Swayman, their backup, because that's how much they didn't trust Linus Ullmark, and the team kind of fell apart from there. And it was just, this wasn't a fluke. Florida was the better team in the series. I was watching that Game 7 overtime. Florida wanted it more. I don't know what Boston was doing. They were missing coverages. They were allowing odd man rushes. They just weren't generating offense. And Florida was. And they just happened to get the screen. They got that shot on net. And Game 7 overtime, one of the biggest upsets in NHL history.
Yeah, no, absolutely huge upset. I think I saw a graphic after going into Game 5. It was like minus 3,000 for the Bruins to win, or not third. It was an extra digit. It was like 20,000 and minus 20,000 and plus 2,000 were the odds. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
What do you think is the bigger upset? When Tampa had that 62-win season and then they got swept by Columbus in the first round, or Boston versus Florida this year?
I'm real tempted to go recency bias here. Not only because it happened last week, but because, these Bruins beat the record set by the Lightning back in, what was that, 2016, 2017, something like that?
I want to say it was the year after the Caps won it, so 2019.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. No, I'm gonna go with the Bruins because they had that lead in the series.
They were up 3-1.
They were up 3-1,
and they had a better record than Tampa did too.
Right, and as much as you say, oh, but they got swept. You needed to win one of 4 games. 5, 6, 7. Yeah. I got that right. Okay, cool. I was
the
like,
math checks out.
That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you needed to win one of 4 games. That's all you had to do. And they couldn't do that. And I think that is a bigger failure than, winning 0. Because they had the 3-1 lead. The 3-1 lead, it's the most dangerous lead in hockey. It always is. Score, series, it doesn't matter. It's the most dangerous lead in hockey.
And hockey is such a fluky game when it comes to bounces or running into a hot goaltender. You just upsets happen all the time. But my God, just seeing how good Boston was, and then I don't know what happened to all those players. They just looked tired, unmotivated, shocked by Florida's tenacity, and Florida wanted it more. And they're a dangerous team right now because they have that underdog mentality and nothing to lose. And you saw that in Game 1 when they faced the Toronto Maple Leafs.
It's one of those things. Florida had nothing to lose going into that series. Everyone was like, oh, it's the Boston. They just had the greatest regular season of all time. They're gonna, they're gonna sweep them and win the cup. And Florida, no one gave a second thought to Florida, so they had nothing to lose
because
they gave 100% of what they had.
Because looking back at that Florida roster, Florida had a lot of injuries to start off the year. And those guys started to get healthy towards the end because I didn't realize Sam Bennett, who they acquired last year, was hurt. He had a huge playoffs. Sam Reinhart, I completely forgot he was on the Florida Panthers. He had a good playoffs. Sergei Bobrovsky, he's been super inconsistent on Florida, but this is the second time he has upset a 60-win team in the playoffs. So I guess Sergei Bobrovsky just has that magic against the 60-win team. And I'm worried about Toronto now just because Florida is just the hot team, and you do not want to go against the team with riding that hot hand into the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, Toronto also is a hot team right now. They just advanced for the first time in 19 years. So it's not like it's not like it's a team that coasted through the first round.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single team this year that coasted through the first round.
I'm not too worried about game one. I didn't watch it, but Toronto's just a super talented team. They've got the defense. Samsonov, when he's hot, he can steal a game. I am not, and this team will make adjustments. So I'm not worried that they lost game one, and it won't change my prediction. I don't know what format you want to do. If you want to do kind of like recap and then series preview.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. So I have Toronto in 6 here. It's more like, Toronto's the talented team. This is their year. On paper, they're so much deeper, and they should win this series. But who knows? Florida just seems like a team that could be a team of destiny with upsetting everyone. Especially with Matthew Tkachuk. Like, I told him, Matthew Tkachuk would single-handedly win Florida a game. And, he did more than that. But this series is not going to be an easy one as long as he's on the ice.
Right. Excuse me. No, I've got Toronto in this as well. I've got them in 7. I know they just won a series, but it's still Toronto.
Yeah, it's still Toronto.
It's still Toronto. I think they're just the better team. Bobrovsky has been the image of inconsistent in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He either, locks down everyone or he gives up 5 goals a game. And you don't know which one you're going to get every time he steps on the ice. And I can't feel comfortable with a goalie like that against a team with as much firepower as the Leafs have. So I'm gonna take the Leafs in 7 here.
Gotcha. And then moving on to the next series, unless you want to elaborate anymore.
Go for it.
We also had a bit of surprise. I wouldn't say it's a bit of surprise, but the Devils beat the New York Rangers in 7 games, which I think all of us, if not most of us, had the Rangers winning this series.
Now Peter had the Devils.
Yes. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Or I guess Hayden had the Devils.
Yeah, Hayden had the Devils. But it was just the young, inexperienced, high-energy team versus the very veteran star power team. And the Stars just didn't show up in Madison Square Garden. They had a 2-0 series lead, and they proceeded to lose 3 straight. They won Game 6, and then they got absolutely shut down by the rookie goaltender in, how do they pronounce it? Schmid? I think it's Schmid.
Sounds right.
And he looked phenomenal. It's just, he was controlling the rebounds. He wasn't letting the Rangers have any second chances. Panarin went 5 games without a point. And it was a complete collapse by the New York Rangers offensively. And those young legs of the New Jersey Devils, they just wore down the Rangers, and they just got to pucks and finished on their scoring opportunities and had all those odd man rushes.
The Devils team reminds me a lot of the Rangers from last year, actually.
Really?
Yeah. You have this young team.
The kid line, yeah.
You have this young team with a great defense, inconsistent offense, but they can score when they need to.
And a hot goaltender.
And yes, a hot goaltender. Obviously, their goaltender isn't Igor Shesterkin. I'm not gonna go that far.
Yeah,
but
not yet.
They give the same vibes, I guess. That doesn't mean they're gonna go as far. That doesn't mean they're gonna go. That doesn't mean they won't win the whole thing. They give me the same energy that the Rangers from last year did, which is a good thing.
Yep.
It was a good series, heading into our prediction episode, before Game 1, we were all saying 7 games, and it was a toss-up, and then we saw Game 1, and we were like, ooh, maybe not.
Yeah.
And this is why you don't overreact.
But I think you got to give props to the coaching staff of the New Jersey Devils for making those adjustments after being honestly dominated at their home rink.
Yeah.
And then moving on to their opponent, the division winners of the Metro, The Carolina Hurricanes beat the Islanders in 6. Not too many surprises here. It was a hard-fought defensive series. Islanders held their own, but ultimately they're just not better than the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah. This was probably the easiest series in the entire first round.
This was the only thing that went according to plan in the first round. The only thing that you could watch and like, oh, that made sense. Everyone had that. But that's kind of what you get out of Carolina. They've been one of the most consistent teams for the past 5 years, it feels like. I think they've won the Metro the past 2 or 3 years. And they're just one of the best coached teams in the league. They're always up there in best defensive teams in the league. They're just so cohesively defensively responsible. And that's why they keep on getting these playoff success despite not having too many deep runs. You can just rely on Carolina to be consistent. But unfortunately, they consistently fall short when it comes to making the Stanley Cup final, and it's not looking good this year just because they have so many injuries. They don't have Pacioretty. They lost Teuvo Teravainen in that series, and Svechnikov, season-ending injury before playoffs. And they still have one of their depth players also got hurt, and they have 2 very injury-prone goaltenders. But even saying all that, they still have a deep roster, and the team is like, on paper, not great, but it's like if you play an EA game, it's like +2 line chemistry for everything just because they're just so good as a unit.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is Here, you talk for a second. I have to figure out how to open the door.
Yeah. So I think the X factor in this series is going to be Sebastian Aho. We've talked about Carolina needing a star player, and Sebastian Aho needs to be that star player and carry that offense if they want to win the series. But with those injuries and New Jersey being the fast, non-stop team and having the hot goaltender, I've got New Jersey in 7 in this. It's just, again, they don't have the star power. The Devils have a Jack Hughes. They got a Dougie Hamilton. Jesper Bratt and Timo Meier have yet to pop off. I think it'll be too much and overwhelm the depth of the Carolina Hurricanes, and they will find ways to get to the goaltenders and capitalize on their chances. I just don't trust Carolina's goaltending. If they have to score in a shootout, and like defensively, Carolina can get a lead and shut the Devils down, but if it comes into a scoring match, I don't think Carolina has the firepower to do that.
Yeah, so going back to just the Hurricanes right now, the first series was probably, when I say easiest, I don't mean like easiest to predict. I mean like it was so much easier on their bodies physically than almost any other series in the playoffs. Like the Rangers and the Devils played a physical 7-game series. The who's it called? I forgot what I was gonna say, but they played a physical 7-game series. Well, the Hurricanes, they played not. It was still physical, but it wasn't as physical, and they had some days off.
Yeah.
So they actually had a lot of time off, honestly, because they played a day before the Rangers and
so
Devils
that
series.
rest
So
and
they had
home field advantage is definitely going to help.
So if we're moving on to predicting that series, that rest, I think they're going to come out strong game 1 and 2, and I think they're going to take those. What I think is really going to be the turning point is game 3. If they take game 3, it's over.
Carolina is also infamously bad away from home.
Yeah. If they lose game 3, I think the Devils have the momentum to win that series then.
For sure.
If they win I think it comes down to game 3, really.
Yeah.
Whoever wins game 3 is going to win that series. I think the Devils are going to be a little bit too much. You said it, their injuries. That's really what it's going to come down to. I know they're so good at home. I know they are. But what it's really going to come down to is the injuries, and I I can't pick the Hurricanes right now. I think the Devils are going to win this series in 7. Welcome in, Peter.
Hello.
How was your week?
It's my mic on.
Yeah.
It's been good. Just looked at an apartment showing.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good, yeah.
All right.
I have another one tomorrow, but we're probably going to apply to this place.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Hope all goes well there.
Yeah, hope so too.
All right. We're just doing NHL round 2 predictions and
Oh, don't let me start.
and break down to the first round, and then we're going to move on to the NBA stuff.
All right, well, hello, and I will see you all when the NBA begins. Because I have not followed the NHL at all.
That's fair.
I'm so glad you walked in because I've been staring at Shane, and there's a possum
I know,
staring right at me, and it's really bothering me. So now I don't have to stare at that the whole time.
I'm a pretty good-looking guy, I understand.
It's just staring me down. It's kind of terrifying.
At least it wasn't like last time when we walked in how one of the possums were.
No, it was.
It actually was?
Yeah, I just moved it.
Poor guy.
Just can't escape the possums.
Poor guy.
Anyway, that's the Eastern Conference. Halfway done.
Yo, moving on to the West, let's start with the other huge upset. The defending Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, lost in 7 games to the second expansion team, second season Seattle Kraken.
Crack, baby!
So, I kind of had a good, when I was doing the series analysis, I had a good evaluation. The Colorado star players, they showed up, except when Makar got suspended for that one game for something completely unnecessary. The star players showed up. Nathan McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, and Devontae contributed on all the goals in their series.
Yes, they were
And
scoring
the
at more
depth-
than a point per game.
The depth was very... Colorado still had a lot of injuries. They don't have Landeskog. Nichushkin didn't play for most of that series. And Cogliano got hurt. They just had a bunch of injuries. The depth just didn't contribute. And then Philip Grubauer, the goaltender for the Seattle Kraken, had his revenge against his former team. And then the depth of Seattle came through. Like I said, Seattle's deep on all 4 lines. Every single one of them can score, defend, and play hard, and that's what they did.
They have 15 different players who have scored a goal in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So far. That's including Game 1. So I don't know how many it was in that series, but it's 15 including Game 1, which is crazy.
So an insane amount of depth, and depth scoring is huge in the playoffs, and a hot goaltender. But unfortunately, when it comes to the formula for recent Stanley Cup champions, you've got to have that star player. Track records of teams that don't really have a legit number 1 star player don't tend to win Stanley Cups. So I feel like Seattle's clock is ticking, but I think they will be able to surprise a few more teams. And this is going to be a really fun series with the Dallas Stars.
So Seattle Kraken. First playoff series, first playoff win. It was a very entertaining series. And I think what it came down to is the goaltending. These two teams were pretty evenly matched.
Because Gorgiev didn't play...
He didn't play great.
Yeah.
He didn't.
But, that's what I kind of expected out of him this series. Gorgiev, career-wise, he's fine. He's not bad, but he's not great.
Right.
And then Grubauer, he had a phenomenal series.
He did.
He played fantastic. And I think that motivation for going against your former team and just proving all the doubters wrong really was the momentum that helped him.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, the star players showed up, but the Kraken matched that with their depth. They have 4 lines that can legit go out there and score no matter what, and that's kind of scary. They are going to run into the greatest playoff goaltender of all time in Jake Ottinger.
And they already played Game 1, and I must say, that first period was insane.
Dude, they scored the 2 teams. There were 6 goals scored in the first period. 5 of them came in a 3-minute and 55-second span.
But I
The
gotta,
Kraken scored 3 goals in less than a minute.
and they didn't pull Ottinger, which was the right decision.
Of
because
course.
he didn't let in a goal for almost 3 periods after that.
Yeah. No, of course, you can't pull Ottinger.
Yeah, and it was pretty much Seattle versus Joe Pavelski.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
That was such a fun game. I'm going to love this series so much. I love both of these teams.
that was such like Joe Pavelski. He got a concussion or some kind of head injury in Game 1 against the Wild, and this is his first game back, and he just lit up that score sheet.
Yeah, he did.
He also didn't lose a face-off in the day. He went 8 for 8 for face-offs. I was convinced this guy was going to find a way to score in overtime, but alas,
He almost did too.
yeah.
Like, he had a really good opportunity about 3 minutes before the Kraken ended it.
But unfortunately, the stars didn't align. Seattle gets a lucky bounce, and Ottinger just didn't see the shot from Yanni Gourde off like a fluky bounce.
It was also like the only possible place that shot could have gone in.
Yeah,
Like top corner, like real short, tight angle,
yeah,
and Ottinger had every other piece of the goal covered up. That was pretty. It was very pretty.
yeah.
But we'll get to that in a second. Speaking of the other team, the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
They beat the Minnesota Wild in 6 to make it to the second round.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it a little bit. There's one man. There's one man, and that's the reason why, and his name is Jake Ottinger.
Well, I give some credit to Rupe Hintz. Rupe Hintz had an incredible series. He had 10, 12 points.
I don't know. He was leading the NHL in points after the series.
In the playoffs. So I want to, Ottinger, don't get me wrong, great series from him. But Rupe Hintz also did a lot of scoring in the absence of Joe Pavelski. And the Wilds, I predicted that the Wild would lose. As soon as I heard their best center, Joel Eriksson Ek, was hurt, I'm like, we're not winning the series. And then Eric Gustafsson, despite how good he's played all season, he definitely looked like
he had a pretty good series. Yeah. Obviously, first game was...
In the first few games, yes, but towards the end, you can he looked more like a young goalie again.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wild just weren't good on special teams. And Kirill Kaprizov was still playing hurt. He just didn't look like the superstar we've seen him play as before. And then Matthew Boldy continues to go cold in the playoffs again. Well, this was his first. He played with Fiala
last year, didn't he?
Yeah, but again, Boldy went cold. But he's a super young player, so he'll get the playoff monkeys off his back. It's just this team, after just 2 games, they just looked tired, and they just couldn't match the momentum or the special teams. And then Ottinger just killed all the momentum the Wild had.
No, it was a tough series. Obviously, I think that first game took a lot out of both of those teams, but with the Wild being so already hit with the injury bug, it took more out of them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's just it didn't roll their way, They won that game. It was an incredible game.
Yeah.
But it didn't roll their way.
I will say that Minnesota's lost the first round of the playoffs for the past 7 years, except for that 1 year they didn't make it. The last time they won a playoff series was 2014, but it's not like the Wild are ever contenders. Again, it's the typical Minnesota team. They're good enough to make playoffs, not good enough to be contenders, gets eliminated early.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Minnesota way. And with the salary cap issues, because of the Parisi Suter buyouts, I just feel like if Minnesota doesn't win a playoff series again, the head coach is getting fired. But this is coming from a Minnesota fan.
How long does he have? How many years? Does he get one more year?
If he doesn't win a playoff series next year, he's fired.
Mm-hmm.
Just because this will be the 3rd or 4th time he's lost in the first round. So that's just me as a Minnesota fan's perspective on things. This is just because the GM did the best he could. I think that at this point it's more of a coach luck issue.
Yeah. So the series, obviously, we previewed it a little bit. Stars versus Kraken. Who do you got?
I have Dallas in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 really wanted me to change my mind, but I'm going to stick with Dallas in 6. I feel like Ottinger he is gonna use this game as fuel to be better.
I think the Stars are going to win this in 7. I think the rest that Dallas got after such a physical series is huge. And you can still see it a little bit. They were a little slow in the game 1, and I think Ottinger's going to have to stand on his head if they want to win this series. I think this is a lot closer of a series than people think, simply because of how beat up Dallas is right now. Not like personnel-wise.
They did not get through that Wild series unscathed.
No, they did not. And I know they got Pavelski back, and he was the only one that looked 100%. Because, he had like 2.5 weeks worth of rest. So, that's why he scored 4 goals and didn't lose a faceoff, because he was fully rested and good to go, and he didn't have to deal with the entirety of that series. And you even saw it in game 1. They got out-hit like 50-20.
Yeah.
You can't win a series like that.
Playoff hockey, you gotta be physical.
You have to be physical. And I know they're hurting, and I know they are struggling to be physical because of that Wild series and how physical it was. They have to find a way to do it. They're going to lose this series if they get out-hit like that again. There's no sugarcoating. There's no way around it. They need to at least be competitive in that stat. Ottinger's going to have to stand on his head. I think this goes to 7 either way, and I think, again, the series is going to come down to Ottinger. It always does. It always will, because that's just the type of team that the Stars are.
I'm just waiting for the typical Grubauer second-round joke, like he did in Colorado. So you always got to go with the goaltender. But speaking of a complete opposite situation where neither of these teams has an established, solid goaltender, and this is the series I'm most excited for. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes. Let's be good.
So
I don't know what to think about the Knights. I don't. I really don't know what to think about the Knights.
But we know what to think about the Oilers.
Yeah, I know exactly what to think about the Oilers.
They have McDavid and Draisaitl, and they can score.
They can score.
This team may not be very good at defense, but they can outscore all their problems, and that's why I love to watch them. And they're going against the Knights team. Again, I think Brossoit is their goalie still. And he's fine.
Yeah.
And they have Jack Eichel. Mark Stone is back. He looked really good. They have really good depth. They have a really good defensive core with Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, McNabb and Martinez are an underrated defensive pairing. And just, again, Vegas, again, has, as they've always been, a very solid top-to-bottom team. And the depth scoring is what I'm really worried about for the Knights. But the Oilers, offensively, and that power play. And the problem is the Knights are also the least penalized team in the league this season. So if they can't use their overpowered power play, this will challenge the Oilers 5v5. And their depth is, again, we're always going to call that depth into question. Evander Kane, you can tell he's playing injured, but they still have Nugent Hopkins, Zach Hyman, Evan Bouchard, their offensive defenseman, has come into his own. And I think this is just going to be another high-scoring series. I don't see anybody who's shutting down McDavid and Draisaitl. But Vegas is a good team. They can weather a storm if they can get a lead better than the Kings could. And I think this series is going 7, but I still think the star power is going to win out of McDavid and Draisaitl. Oilers in 7. Yeah.
So you talked about the Oilers. Obviously, their analysis is they score goals.
Yeah.
That's their whole thing. It was a great series against the Kings. It was very fun to watch, but I really don't know what to think about this Vegas team, because I mean, sometimes they come out against these teams and they light them up, and then they can't score, and their goaltending situation always stays the same. They're always just okay at defense and goaltending. It's just, I really don't know what Vegas we're gonna get. You know, I talked about Florida, how we don't know what Bobrovsky we're gonna get. We know what goalie we're gonna get. We don't know what offense we're going to get with Vegas is the thing.
Yeah.
And that is so much more of a question mark, especially against a team that has such a bad defense in Edmonton.
But here's the thing: they had to deal with Connor Hellebuck last.
Oh,
night.
I'm not.
So I feel like shooting on Jeff Skinner
It's
is
so much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah.
And the defense it's been better, a little bit better lately, but still the Oilers' defense is incredibly inconsistent.
Right.
So I feel like Vegas will have a lot easier time scoring on that. But I think this is going to be another series where it's going to be a scoring race.
I agree with you. I think this is going to go 7, and I think the Oilers are going to win this in 7.
Yeah. This is one of those
There's
situations.
2 options.
I
in the
hope.
series.
If I am not 100% right, I hope I'm 100% wrong. Because I would love to see a Vegas-Seattle Western Conference final.
Oh, dude,
That
awesome.
would be so exciting to watch. Just seeing the 2 expansion teams duke it out with each other to go to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Like, I really... If I'm wrong about one, I want to be wrong about both.
I think the series goes one of 2 ways. Either it goes Oilers in 7
Yeah.
or Vegas in 5.
It's just... Don't get me wrong, I want to see Dallas and Oilers go on, but I don't want to see one or the other. If just seeing the Seattle jerseys against the Vegas Golden Knights jerseys, oh, that would be so cool. And just like the narratives. So it's just part of me really hopes I'm wrong, but we'll see.
We will check back in for NHL in the next round. No, we won't. We will not.
We'll probably give like middle series update.
Yeah, we will. We're going to have a show next week, Peter. It's going to be the last show. It's going to be great. Anyway, that's the NHL. Peter,
Hello.
it's NBA time.
It's NBA time.
Welcome to the show.
I know, right?
Before we get into series recap
It's
and
like
predictions.
my soul just came back. It was like,
Peter rose from the grave.
whoa.
He went into a slumber and he's back.
Before we get into the series recaps and previews,
I'm like the old man, like the old grandfather that falls asleep for like 90% of the conversation. I was like, Grandpa, wake up! You're like, what? What's happening?
the MVP award was announced yesterday.
Yes,
or
it
today.
was.
I don't remember.
Yesterday.
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 Joel Embiid.
Yes, it was, Joel.
He wins his first MVP over Jokic and Giannis. Thoughts?
Well, over Jokic. Giannis had no shot.
Was this voter fatigue, or did Embiid actually deserve this?
It was
both.
It was both, but
It was
you
both.
know,
It was probably mostly voter fatigue.
probably deserved it.
I personally think that Jokic deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
But I 100% see the reason why Joel won it. My problem is, of course, first of all, the Western Conference is a lot harder of a conference than the Eastern Conference. It's not even close. Jokic was the number 1 team in the Western Conference. He almost averaged a triple-double as a center.
Right.
I mean, name another center who's even come close to that. I think the last one, and he didn't even come close to it, was Hakeem. Hakeem or David Robinson, I feel like, are the only ones.
They didn't assist enough.
But they didn't. Hakeem assisted.
They didn't
just not
assist enough.
And then the only center who assisted enough to be comparable with Jokic was Wilt Chamberlain.
Exactly.
And that is when Wilt decided, I'm bored of shooting. I'm just going to pass.
And he was so good.
I mean, it's literally, he admitted that. He said, because a reporter later on in his life said, why did you just suddenly, drop off the face of the planet? You were doing 35, 40 points a game, and then all of a sudden you were doing, 18. What happened? He's like, I wanted to see if I could break the passing for the season. I wanted to see if I could be the leading passer. What happened? He was the leading passer. So, and remember, this is also during the time that Jerry West was a shooter, but Jerry West, what's his name? AC Green, all these decently good passers were in the league, and he still beat them. But the only center who's done this was Wilt Chamberlain. I completely agree with the sentiment of a guy should not get the same award every single year. If that's the case, then LeBron would have won it 9 straight years, because LeBron was the greatest player in the league 9 straight years.
Right, but if we're going by that logic, Giannis should have won this year.
Giannis is the best player in the league during the regular season.
Right. Because this is a regular season award. That's what the MVP is.
Yes, but statistically wise, LeBron for 9 straight years was the best statistically, and he didn't.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's what I was trying to get
Mm-hmm.
at. So I think that Joel earned it. I'm not going to even remotely take it away. I said earlier on this show that I don't see Jokic losing it, but then Jokic didn't play while Joel did. So I think that Joel completely earned it. I personally would have given it to Jokic just because of how historic his last 3 seasons have been. I mean, we haven't seen something like this in a really long time. And I would have given it to Jokic, but I also completely understand why they gave it to Joel. You cannot stop Joel Embiid other than injuring him. He's ridiculously good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if Jokic had gotten that triple double,
or played, I think if he had played the last 10 games, because he kind of played, but he didn't win it.
Right.
I think they would have won.
I think if he averaged that triple double, he would have gotten it. And I think, what was he at, like 9.8 assists or something like that?
9.8, 9.7.
Some like so close. And this obviously was a great race, but a lot of it comes down to Joel Embiid just hasn't been awarded properly. He deserves it. He hasn't gotten first team All NBA until like this year.
Yeah,
because of positions, and I know they're getting rid of positions now.
It's ridiculous.
It's super dumb.
It literally diminishes the big man. I mean, you hear all-time great centers all the time. Shaq is a huge talker about this. Is why are big men getting diminished for having better numbers than the little guys, but the little guys get 2, and they get 1.
Mm-hmm.
In the All-NBA, I'm 100% happy that they're taking away positions, because if you look at the All-NBA list, there's like people who are All-NBA first team, and then you have people like Joel Embiid, and it's like All-NBA second team, All-NBA third team. It's like, how? He's doubling almost every single statistic, and he's somehow worse.
Yeah.
So.
But that's regardless.
Yes.
Congrats to Joel. He deserved it.
He did deserve it.
And I think we can finally get rid of some of the animosity between these two, because there really shouldn't be.
Well, Joel is a petty guy, but I'm going to be completely honest. I think it's completely one-sided. Jokic doesn't care.
Oh no, he doesn't. He didn't care about winning the MVP. He was just like, I want to win a championship.
I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen the video of when Jokic actually won the MVP for the first time. His entire team is going like bananas. They're freaking out. And he just is lying back in his chair just going, whoa. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Because at the end of the day, the MVP means nothing. It genuinely doesn't. Until you get a ring on your finger. I mean, Charles Barkley won the MVP. How many rings does Charles have? None. He has the same amount as me. And I've never played.
I'm just as good as Charles Barkley at basketball.
I want to go that far. But, no, genuinely no animosity or anything towards it. Great job to Joel. He deserves it. If they had somehow given it to Giannis, I would have had a much different statement.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have been like, you had 2 guys that were better in pretty much everything, and you gave it to Giannis. But we should talk about playoffs.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I meant to have that conversation before playoffs started, and then they just awarded it. I was like, shoot. Anyway, playoffs. I'll let you pick which series we start with.
We got to start with Bucks Heat.
Bucks Heat.
You have to.
Yeah, there's this guy. I'm not sure if you heard of him.
His name is Jimmy Butler.
His name is Himmy Butler.
The dude, I mean, there's no one like him in the playoffs.
No.
There was a talk of a time when playoff Kawhi, I've said it on this show, playoff Kawhi, don't mess with playoff Kawhi. That is now playoff Jimmy.
It's been playoff Jimmy for the past 5 years.
No, it's been playoff Jimmy since
2020. Yeah.
Since the bubble.
Yeah.
So not 5 years, since the bubble, when they made it to the championship, when they had no business making it to the championship.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the Heat came into the playoffs as the 8th seed, but they had to go through the play-in first, where they lost the first game to the Hawks, and then they came in, beat the... What did they beat?
Pelicans?
Pelicans? I can't remember.
No, aren't the Pelicans in the West?
I think they're in the West.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I
It
can't
doesn't
remember.
matter.
And they came in...
It was the Bulls.
The Bulls. It was the Bulls.
No, it was the Raptors. It was the Bulls or the Raptors.
It was the Bulls
Whoever
or the
won
Raptors.
that one.
The 8th seed, and they ended up beating the number 1 seed Bucks, which, by statistics, 70% of the league thought that they were going to win the championship, the Bucks. And the Heat that everyone wrote off, including myself, said, no, I'm going to just win this.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even really that close either. Like,
In fairness, Giannis did miss 2 games.
I know, but still, like, it's just because Giannis is missing games doesn't mean that Heat team should have outclassed them.
Well, how the Bucks are structured, it kind of does. I mean, do I think that the Heat would have won? I'm not taking anything away from the Heat when I say this. The Heat would have won either way.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that it would have been a lot closer? Absolutely.
Right, because even the games that Giannis played.
Yeah, they found a way to stop him.
Yeah.
They found a way to stop someone who everyone was saying was unstoppable.
They had, dude, I forgot it. Cody Zeller. They had Cody Zeller outplaying Giannis down the stretch of that game.
Yes.
If you cannot have Cody Zeller outplaying you if you're Giannis. That is embarrassing.
I don't know anything about basketball, let me preface this, but is that like a huge coaching thing, like coming up with a scheme to shut down Giannis?
Definitely, yes.
Spoelstra
is a great coach.
Eric Spoelstra.
I'm not sure if he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but he should be. He should be first ballot.
He is basketball royalty. Eric Spoelstra. His dad was like one of the greatest GMs of all time, and that's how he got his coaching job, was through his dad, and unbelievably talented.
He's so good. He's been in Miami since as long as I can remember.
I think he's been in Miami since forever. I think he's been since he's been a head coach. I think that he's been in Miami since.
Ever since I popped into consciousness, I think he's been in Miami, which was like 2006, 7 or something like that.
Oh, you're a lot younger than I thought then.
Well, I wasn't conscious for the first 4 years of my life. I was just kind of a mindless zombie mulling around,
Yeah, but so it's unbelievably good coaching. It's having great players that can mold around situations, and I think that we just really overlooked the Heat. I think the Heat also probably didn't try as much in the regular season because they're now currently facing the Knicks, and the Knicks beat them last night.
But Jimmy
barely
didn't play.
Without Jimmy Butler.
I thought they were going to win that game because they were up big. Too. We were watching that game. No, we weren't. We were watching. I was watching that game. He was studying. Mm-hmm. And they were up like by 8 or something with 5 minutes to go, and then they just stopped scoring.
The Knicks rallied.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get back to that later.
So just to clarify, the Heat play-in. Heat was the 7th seed. The Hawks were the 8th seed. The Heat lost. They played against the Bulls.
Yeah.
Beat the Bulls. Faced the Bucks.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, don't mess with Jimmy Buckets. But next series, we should probably talk about. I'm just not even going to bring up the 76ers versus Nets sweep. Unsurprising.
Yeah, no, that was we talked about that one a little bit already.
I think we all said that was a sweep.
Yeah.
Do we just want to go right into Miami, New York, like we did with?
We'll break down New York, Cleveland first, and then we'll get into that.
Yeah, let's do New York, Cleveland. I was the only one on this show that said New York.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I think New York's got this.
Yeah.
Do I think that they're going to beat the Heat? Absolutely not.
No.
No shot.
Although Jimmy Butler's still questionable to play Game 3.
Jimmy Butler I don't think it matters. I think that when Jimmy Butler comes back, they'll win the next 3 games. So, also, my bad, Giannis. Didn't mean to predict your injury. But, the Knicks have no shot. The Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. I just thought that the Knicks matched up so much better.
They ate them up inside. That's what it was.
Ate them up. I told you.
I know you did.
They have nothing inside.
I thought because they had 2 7-footers inside that they could handle it, but those guys are just meat and bones.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, Allen, their center, he's a good defender, but he's really weak in the tailbone, which for people who don't know, it just means that he can be backed down and just dunked over or just passed to someone else on the outside or someone cutting. I mean, he's really weak in the tailbone, and I was like, it doesn't matter that he's taller. I mean, when you have a player like Julius Randle and
Mitchell Robinson,
7'1".
I love Mitchell Robinson.
He's an incredible defender, but they're both big guys.
Yep.
They're so much bigger than they have down low, and it's like a lost art in the NBA now. Big guys are going to always win down low. It's never going to be the little guy who wins. Like 9 times out of 10. So that didn't really shock me. So we can touch on Heat Knicks.
Yeah. Heat in like you have to calculate for Jimmy's injury.
I'll say
I
Heat
think
in 6.
I think the Heat would have swept if Jimmy played all games.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Heat in 5. The way that they played, I know Jimmy might not play game 3, but I think he's definitely gonna play game 4, and I think the way that they played game 2 in the Garden, gives me hope for that home game that the Heat can win that. I'm gonna say
Heat in 6, just in case Jimmy does miss out again. Just simply because I think that Knicks team is very talented. It's very young, very talented. And I think that they have a shot, not to win at all, but I think they have a shot to win the bucket. So, yeah.
We'll see.
I have New York in 6, just to be different. Why not?
You know what? If you're right,
yeah,
good for you.
Okay then, Shane.
Again, my proudest basketball accomplishment was predicting the March Madness winner 2 years in a row. So, who knows?
Honestly, that's a pretty good accomplishment. Honestly,
That's a good accomplishment.
I've been making brackets since like 2013, and I've only gotten it right once. So.
Yeah, trust me, my brackets are not good, but those 2 years I picked the winner, and I felt pretty proud of myself.
I was right the year that UVA won. I picked UVA.
I only got it the year that Louisville won, and then it got voided because all the things that happened there.
Okay, so next on the list was...
next Eastern Conference Series. 76ers destroyed the Nets. If you want to listen to us break it down even a little bit, go check out our last episode.
Check it out on YouTube. I think it was 2 episodes.
Don't remember.
2 episodes ago? Yep, we all broke it down. It was unanimous.
Yeah.
4-0. What happened? 4-0.
So Boston, Atlanta.
This was a tougher series than...
Wait, we should talk about the 76ers game last night against Celtics. Should we do that before?
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay. Because that's a big one.
Yeah. That was a tighter series than we thought. Celtics Hawks.
I think they didn't care. I think Boston just didn't care.
There's
not enough talent. I don't care. Trae Young isn't good enough.
They should have won Game 5, honestly. There was some reffing down the stretch that caused the Hawks to even get a chance to hit that 3 to win the game.
It's called the NBA being like, oh my God, we are missing out on so much ad revenue because you all are beating each other so fast.
That's it. 6 games, it made it look closer than it was.
Yeah.
But it probably should have been 5, honestly.
Should have been 5.
Doesn't matter. They won. And now they're going to play the 76ers, which is going to be probably...
They played the 76ers last night.
They did. It's going to be one of the better series of the year.
I'm not too sure. The 76ers won without Joel Embiid.
Yes, they did, but that's because James Harden finally did something in the playoffs.
James Harden has done stuff in the playoffs previously. It's not often, I'll be honest, but he has done it previously. I think it's more James Harden was told, hey, you're the guy again. Show us why you haven't fallen off a cliff. And
drops 45.
He drops 45. I mean...
The one thing that gives me pause is because Harden's not going to drop 45 every night, right? When Joel comes back, which he said today that he's back.
He said last night he was back.
Did he?
He said after he won the MVP, he said, I'm back.
Yeah, it was right away. I was that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
But he's back, and when he comes back, Harden's gonna go back to his role as like
Passer.
one of the greatest passers in the league this year.
Yeah. The greatest
He's
passer.
been really good. He's been really good. But what gives me pause is even though they won that game, they won it, basically, it wasn't a buzzer beater, but it was a dagger 3 with like 5 seconds left, and Tatum still put up 40.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop Tatum.
Tell me who's going to stop Joel.
You're right. No one's going to stop Joel. But Harden's not going to put up 45 every night,
Joel can. Joel 100% can. Al Horford is guarding Joel. Joel. Al Horford. Al Horford. In the words of Shaquille O'Neal, that's barbecue chicken.
We love Al Horford.
I like Al Horford. He's not stopping Joel Embiid.
No, he's not. There's no shot.
You're going to need 3 people to stop him. You're going to need to have Jaylen Brown come down. Is that a call?
Yeah. Keep going. Hello?
No one's stopping Joel Embiid. Especially on that Celtics team.
I'm just curious who's calling on
Yeah,
this
who's
phone.
calling?
It's a bunch of static noise.
Oh, so it's a telemarketer.
No, we've gotten calls before. It's just the phone's not on. We don't have the key for it, so I tried getting it earlier this semester. We didn't get it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh well.
I thought that an angry Celtics fan was going to come and be like, "Hey, Al Horford's great."
I'm glad you noticed that because I almost missed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So what do you think's gonna win that series? Celtics, 76ers.
76ers in 5.
5. Really?
Yep. On to the next one. They're going to want to take him out as fast as possible, so Joel has time to rest.
You're right, but oh my god, 5?
5. 5.
I think this goes 6 or 7. I don't know. This either is Sixers in 6 or Celtics in 7.
No.
No, I know. I know you think the 76ers are an unstoppable force this year, but...
Oh, no, they'll lose in the championship.
I have 76ers in 6 only because I want Boston to be miserable. I want back-to-back playoff misery.
That'd be awesome.
Oh,
wait, but I would like to say, if Joel gets injured again, then Celtics are clearly going to win. But if Joel stays healthy...
I'm going to take the Celtics in 7. I think Joel's rushing back from injury right now, and I think that's not the greatest thing.
Okay.
I don't think he needs to play tonight. I think an extra game might do him the best to sit out. But he knows his body better than I do,
Yeah.
So that's obviously his decision to make, the trainers.
I feel like the trainers wouldn't let him because
especially since they won Game 1. Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
They've literally stopped him in the past.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Moving to the West. So
Nuggets are playing.
No, Nuggets 8. What were the Nuggets versus
Minnesota?
Minnesota. That was obvious.
I think we can just
skip
past that.
Yeah.
And then we had Phoenix and the LA Clippers.
Classic tale of too many injuries eventually gets a team. Kawhi's injured. Paul George is injured. What are you supposed to do? Russell Westbrook was the only healthy, quote-unquote, star Clipper that was left. What are you supposed to do? You're going to lose. So, they stole 2 games.
1 game.
1 game?
Yep, 4-1 series.
Sorry, I gave you too much credit.
I thought it was 6-2.
I thought it was 6.
I misremembered.
Not according to ESPN.
I'll believe them.
Yeah. Before we continue on the Western Conference, we've reached the top of the hour here on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of the Triple Threat Show, joined as always by my 2 friends and co-hosts,
Shane Brisland
and
Peter Kegwin.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You can check out our live stream on YouTube at the Triple Threat Show. You can check us out on Twitter at 3 Threat Show and on Instagram at the Triple Threat Show. We're We're going to finish the NBA, and then we're going to do NFL draft, and then there's going to be more things, and it's going to be very exciting.
All right.
All right.
Well, then let's speed through since we got a lot on the table.
So Denver, Phoenix. Denver's already up 2-0 in the series. How do we...
Don't worry about the time. Anyway, Clippers Suns. When Kawhi was healthy, it was a series.
It was a series, but then it wasn't healthy.
And that's it's crazy to me how much basketball rides on one person. It's like
It's 5 players.
I know it is. It's
I mean, that's why so many teams have like not tried this season for Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Because it's quite literally one player can completely change a franchise. You can go from a franchise that made the lottery to making the championship
in 1 year.
One
Yeah.
player, or 1 or 2 players, and you're good. Teams are just so even that you just need 1 or 2 players.
I don't know. I that's why the NBA is so fun, because it all comes down to star on star a lot of the time.
The unfortunate part is that it's
Excuse
so
me.
fun until the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because the playoffs are so boring because of the 7-game format.
Right.
It's just so boring.
It's would you switch it to 5? Do you think that would make it better?
No. I'd switch it to
single
3.
elimination.
I'd do single or 3. I think it'd be so much more interesting.
Oh, dude, a 3-game series?
Yeah, I think it'd be so much more interesting.
Ooh.
I'd open up the playoffs more, so it's more than just 8.
Dude, I wouldn't
8
miss a
teams.
game. Oh my goodness.
If
3-game series.
3-game series or 1 game. I mean, it would be so much
You
fun.
can't do 1 game in the playoffs. You'd
I
lose too
agree.
much money.
I agree. A 3-game series, though, I mean, you can't argue, oh, well, the worst team won because, well, they had to win 2 games then. I don't know what to tell you. If you can't win 2 games.
Yeah, I would rather have, open up the playoffs, have 3-game series,
Yeah.
and not have the play-in, because I'm just not a huge fan of the play-in.
No one likes the plan.
Yeah.
Adam Silver made the plan with his dumb team to bring in, more revenue to the league.
I don't hate the
The
play-in.
plan's
It's just
not
congratulations. You won the
awful.
opportunity to get eliminated unless your name were the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I mean, and everyone's making a big deal. So it's the first time that the play-in has happened. A team has actually won the first series, and it's like,
teams. Lakers won 2.
That's true. 2 teams have won. 2 teams have won the same thing. Well, congratulations. It's not even 4 years old.
Well, yeah, congratulations. They were already supposed to be in those positions, or close to those positions anyway.
Yeah, plans are dumb. And this mid-game tournament, mid-season tournament.
Do you actually hate the tournament?
Yes. It's dumb.
I just think the regular season needs some spice to it.
The regular season should be shortened, and the playoffs should go to 3 games. That's how it should be. 82 games is way too many games, and the playoffs of a potential 7-game series 3 times is too many games. I mean, technically speaking, if everything was a 7-game series for a team, that's 21 extra games. That's horrible. No, I'm sorry, 28 extra games. Because there's 4. It's boring. I don't want to see the same team 7 times in a row. It's boring. So, yeah. But anyway, back to the playoffs.
Yeah. We were talking about the Clippers series against the Suns. Yeah. Once Kawhi went, Russell Westbrook could not do it on his own.
No.
Give him credit, he tried.
Yeah, he tried a lot more than he did for the Lakers.
He played a lot better down the stretch for the Clippers than he did on the Lakers, obviously.
I think he was probably given more opportunities. I think that the team actually wanted to work with his play style.
That system was built around him instead of LeBron.
And Le GM, as people like to call LeBron, the system was built for LeBron and Russell Westbrook. Everyone said when Russell Westbrook went on to the Lakers, wow, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, okay. Moving on, Lakers.
Oh, we need to predict the series.
Oh,
Suns, Nuggets. Nuggets are up 2-0.
yep.
Who wins? How many games?
Nuggets in 5. Chris Paul. I just looked on my phone. Chris Paul.
He's out.
He's done.
He's done. I thought he was just missing the next game.
He's mixing the most likely games 3 through 5. So
leave it to Chris Paul to do that every year.
I know Chris Paul has fallen off of a mountain when it comes to skill, but he's still a very big component on that court. He takes a lot of eyes away from other players, and now they're going to have some guy, unless they're going to move Devin Booker to the point guard position, which
they don't have any depth to replace him.
No, and so
like at least in years past they had like Bridges and
Kevin Durant hasn't been there long enough for him to really be well adjusted with their team. So the Nuggets are going to win. It's going to be 5 or 6.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was out for that long. I thought it was just like I thought there was a chance he'd play next game.
No, they said most likely out for 3 from game 3 to 5 is what I read on Shams.
Yeah, so then they're a little screwed. Just a little bit. I'm gonna take the Nuggets in 5. Durant will steal a game or 2.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not going to be a sweep.
It's not gonna be a sweep.
It was
There's
between
no
5 and
shout.
6.
There's no shout out to sweep because they
Durant and Booker.
I think it's more Durant. You can't stop Kevin
I don't
Durant.
know. Booker will go off for 50 points one of these nights, and then Durant will score 35 more, and then that'll be their win.
I wonder if they'll foul people again, so that way. Yeah, I found it too. Phoenix Suns guard. This was 21 hours ago. Phoenix Suns guard Chris Paul is expected to be reevaluated in 1 week after MRI on his groin injury today. Suns are preparing to be without Paul through games 3 through 5. And that's Shams, which he has the best sources in the NBA.
Ugh.
So.
That sucks for the Suns.
Yeah.
This was like their last shot.
I bet you that Charles Barkley's happy about it, though. No one's getting... Suns ain't beating me. I was the Suns' best shot. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan being Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so that sucks for the Suns.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of don't like the Suns, but you know.
I'm ambivalent about it.
Anyway, last NBA series of the second round. We have the Lakers playing the Warriors, and the Warriors...
Oh, wait, no.
Had to.
No, Warriors versus Kings.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
apologize.
no. The Warriors had to fight through 7 long games versus the Sacramento Kings to make it to this position. That was an incredible series.
It was an awesome series. Now, for the folks at home that did not listen to us, and we said this afterwards, Jeremy and I made a bet.
And Caleb.
Caleb. We made a bet that Caleb and I chose the Warriors. Jeremy chose the Kings. Whatever team did not win, the loser had to eat hot wings. Jeremy, when are you eating the hot wings?
We'll find a time. It'll probably be during the summer, honestly, because finals are next week, and I don't really have a lot of time this week. But we'll do it. Don't worry. I'm not gonna chicken out of this. Yeah, it'll get done. But no, this was a really good series. Turning point was Draymond getting suspended and realizing, oh, they're better without me.
Yep. Told you.
Which,
I mean, Steve Kerr literally, after he did come back for the next few games, literally had him like coming off of the bench.
that was Draymond's decision.
I'm sure it was.
That's what he said.
I'm sure that's what Draymond said.
Or at the very least, he was okay with it.
But I think that is as close to reality as it is. Draymond, don't listen to a single thing that Draymond says. Draymond's an idiot. Draymond's an idiot. I mean, if he was as smart as he likes to claim, he's an incredible NBA analyst. And when he retires, he's going to have a job as an NBA analyst.
Oh yeah, let's slot right into that TNT.
Yeah, when Charles Barkley retires and Draymond retires from NBA, he's taking that spot on that inside the NBA. I'm not even going to dispute. Draymond is very knowledgeable when it comes to basketball, but when it comes to playing, no, he's past his prime.
Of course.
Well past it. And he's also an extremely egotistical player. So no, I do not think that it was Draymond's idea. I think it was Steve Kerr's idea.
So why are the Warriors so much better when he comes off the bench? Because it's not like he's not playing crunch time minutes. He's in there at the end of games. He's in there when they need huge possessions. Why are they better when he doesn't start?
Because he is wrong on the floor for the initial team. The best time that the Warriors have ever been is when they had something that was called the Death Squad lineup. That is the exact name of the team, where they had one of their starters as a bench player and came on later with the bench players. That's the best time that it works. When Draymond and all the other starters are out on the court together, it doesn't work. He gets in lanes that he shouldn't be in, for Steph Curry to cut in and then pass out, or for players to like Clay to roll and get open for three. He also really lingers around that 3-point line, and he should not be at that 3-point line. So he's just not right for the initial team. So the best thing is for him to come off of the bench, and then he's an incredible leader off of the, I shouldn't say leader, he's a really loud voice off of the bench that will yell at people and tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a leader because he punches people in the face on the same team. So, and he's not Michael Jordan who would do that. So
what's your takeaway for the Kings? Like, obviously this was an incredible season for them. First time since 2003? I don't remember what it was that they made the playoffs. It's been a long time. They obviously made it to Game 7 against a dynasty in the Warriors.
Mm-hmm. An old dynasty, but a dynasty.
They're still a dynasty. They won last year. I'm not calling the end of their reign yet.
I said that they're going to win it all again.
You did say that.
So I'm not calling it the end of their reign either. I'm saying it's an old dynasty.
Yes. Still a dynasty nonetheless.
Yeah.
What do the Kings have to do to improve on this season? Nothing. Just run it back.
Run it back. You guys got matched up against the one team. I genuinely believe if they faced the Lakers, they would have lost. They would have beaten the Lakers because they would have run laps around that Lakers team.
Do you think if Fox's finger hadn't gotten hurt, that they would have won?
Yes, I do.
All right.
De'Aaron Fox is the person for the Kings. I mean, like, Sabonis and all the players on that team, unbelievably good. There's no disputing that. But De'Aaron Fox, look at the numbers after he injured his finger. He was averaging like 38 points. Next game after his finger, 18. That's over a half decrease. I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. And you can say, oh, well, they had a day or two to adjust. You can't adjust what you were going with the entire season. It's just not how it works in basketball.
Yeah.
Look at the Bulls teams whenever Michael Jordan got hurt. They would lose. The exact same team all those years ago when Michael Jordan retired for a little bit went to the playoffs and they lost in the conference championship. And it's because they didn't have Michael. It was the exact same team. They didn't really lose any other pieces that mattered. So if you lose a key player or that key player gets a really bad injury and that player is not Kobe Bryant, it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So then Lakers, Grizzlies.
Lakers
take the series in 6?
Yep, 6 games.
6.
6 games.
Yeah, 6 games.
Unbelievable showing by the Lakers team.
Anthony Davis in particular.
LeBron had a little bit of a step back. Give him some credit. The dude is 38, 39 years old.
LeBron's filling his role. He's not the number one guy in that team, and he knows it. He's playing his role, and he's given it up to Davis and Austin Reeves sometimes, and D'Angelo Russell every once in a while. He's given up it up to these guys.
Austin Reeves is a distraction. He's not supposed to be the main person. So
No.
essentially, whenever Austin Reeves starts scoring, you should pay attention to down low with Anthony Davis, or if Anthony Davis isn't down low, just essentially wherever Anthony Davis is, you should always pay attention to Anthony Davis, because what it means is when Austin Reeves starts going, it means that they are putting way too much pressure on Anthony Davis. It detracts from their offense, so they have another guy get going. And it's hard for LeBron to get going because he's old, and he has an injury that he probably shouldn't be playing on. And then D'Angelo Russell can kind of do it, but they found a guy like Austin Reeves who can get going when they need him to. And because of that, it will be like, oh wait, we can't just put all this pressure on Anthony Davis. We have to go look at Austin Reeves as well. So they'll adjust their defensive stance. And then Davis is like, all right, this is fun now. So, I was very happy that they beat the Grizzlies. I cannot say any of the expletives that I want to say about the Grizzlies on this show. But just fill in the blanks yourself. Especially Dylan Brooks, who, by the way, Grizzlies don't want you back.
Under any circumstances. Any circumstances. That's hilarious. I think that's hilarious.
Matter. You could ask for $1 for 1 year, and they said no. They do not want you back.
Does he get signed anywhere?
Get ready to learn Mandarin, buddy, because you're going to China. No, he's not going to get signed. He is an egotistical player.
You don't think a team like the Hornets are going to sign him?
No, he's way too egotistical for how good he is. I mean, let's be honest. The Grizzlies tried to sign him at the midway point this year.
Did they really?
Yes, they tried to. And he asked for way too much money. Because he was acting like he was, other than John Morant, the best player on the team. He was like, it's me and Ja against the world. It's like, no, it's not. You're a glorified Tony Allen. Stop it. You're not any better than Patrick Beverley was. So, it's ridiculous. Just enjoy playing in China. I heard that Jeremy Lin won the MVP this year. You could guard him.
Yeah. So, series. Lakers, Warriors. Obviously, Lakers won game 1 last night.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins this? I know you have the Warriors winning it, but give us a little breakdown here.
What I saw last night made me really afraid for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Really afraid, because it was close, but Steph Curry's ego got the best of him.
And he was making shots down the stretch.
There is not a sense in the world why it is that tight of a game, why you go down low with Anthony Davis on one possession is down low and blocks the shot, and then another possession, LeBron's right there as well. You are 6'1", and you are doing a scoop shot with someone in front of you. It doesn't make any sense. He should have done a floater, but the problem is that there was someone behind him, so he can't do a floater because that's an easy block. So he went for the little scoop shot, but if there's someone in front of you who has a decent enough vertical or tall enough, you can block that away quite easily. And that's what happened both times. There's no sense why you should go up against Anthony Davis or LeBron in that circumstance if you're Steph Curry. And it's because Steph thinks he's that guy that should be taking all those shots late in the game, and he isn't. He isn't. If you look at the actual statistics of Steph Curry in the last 2 minutes of the game, he's about 28%. In the last 70 seconds of the game, he is 28.3% from the field. Actually, it's efficiency field. So that he's 28.7%. You cannot have that as your star player taking all these shots. You can't. So that's why if that happens again on game 2, Lakers are going
to win. All right. It is a bit of a mismatch inside, isn't it? Anthony Davis is just...
What are you supposed to do?
You can't.
It's the best hope for the Warriors, which is the best hope for the 76ers. and that if the Warriors face the 76ers in the championship, and that's Draymond Green. Draymond Green needs to run and do a spear into Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid, and he'll get like disqualified. He'll get suspended for the rest of the series, but they won't have two of the most injury-prone players on either team. That's their only hope when it comes to stopping them. It's either outscore,
which they can do,
which they 100% can do. It's either outscore or injure the player because they're not stopping.
Because the Lakers go cold a lot. That's like their big weakness. They go cold because they like to shoot a lot from outside when their outside shooters aren't the greatest.
No, they don't have the greatest outside shooters, which, as I've said on this show, really bother me because if you want LeBron to succeed, you have to give him outside shooters. That is how he's always succeeded every single championship, is he has had outside shooters. And, I mean, D'Angelo Russell's a decent outside shooter.
Yeah,
but he's
decent.
not enough.
Yeah, he's decent. We talked about Reeves already. He's decent.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, Rui Hachimura can shoot from three. He's not like a 3-point threat, but he can.
I see Rui as when Draymond was decent from three.
And it's the same.
He could do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not too.
You don't want him doing it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Dennis Schroeder. He can do it. He can. They just have a lot of guys that can do it,
Dennis
like
Schroeder's name makes me mad.
like if they get a shot, if almost anyone on their team gets an open look from three, you're not going to be like, I can't believe they shot that. But at the same time, you're like, they definitely probably could have gotten a better shot somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Davis can shoot. D'Angelo Russell can shoot. LeBron can shoot.
He can.
He can shoot.
Yeah, I don't think there's more than two people on that roster that cannot shoot. But, they're just not no one on that roster is world beating, is like going to compete with anyone on the Warriors for three-point shooting.
No. But you also have two of the greatest three-point shooters of all time on the Warriors.
Right.
So, I mean, another big problem was that Jordan Poole, I said it.
He really rushed that shot at the end.
He really rushed it. I mean,
Shane and I were watching that game. He rushed
that was a
shot.
makeable shot.
It was a good look. I'm not
good
gonna say it wasn't a good look, but it was deep, and you still had like 15 seconds to get a better shot.
It was a makeable shot. He rushed it way too much. I'm not saying you hand that off to Steph Curry now, because he's going to miss that for sure.
But you had 15 seconds to maybe get Steph Curry in a better position,
or
somebody in a better position.
I'm not saying you give it to Steph Curry at all. I think you tell Steph, go wait in a corner. Let's have anyone else take this.
I think you're way too big of a hater.
I think that Klay Thompson should be taking that three.
Yeah.
He was hot last night, too. Dude, his 3-point balls were, like, perfect.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I think Klay is a better three-point shooter than...
By, like, pure shooting.
By Steph Curry. By pure shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Off the, like, dribbling around, and, like, getting a shot, there's no one better than Steph Curry.
Yeah.
But, and anyone who says otherwise, you're a moron. But... Klay Thompson, when it comes to pure shooting, that is all the dude can do.
Yeah, pure shooting, Klay Thompson, all the way up there.
I mean, there was a point when he was pretty athletic, but after injuries, the only thing that Klay can do is shoot. And he is still
can do
incredible.
it good. He can do it pretty good.
Yeah, so give it to Klay.
All right, so yeah, I've got the Lakers in 7.
I've got to stick with my pick. I have the Warriors, but I'm really afraid because I genuinely think that the Lakers can pick it.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Warriors in 7.
I didn't say I'm at Warriors in 7.
All right. No, this is gonna be a good series though. Whenever LeBron and Curry match up, it's usually a good series.
Oh, it's Magic Larry. It's literally Magic Larry.
Yeah.
Which is funny because people made that comparison after like their second time facing each other, and both of them were like, "No, this isn't a rivalry." And then,
no, but they're like friendly with each other too. Like pregame, they were like joking around with each other. They were. They don't have like
friendly.
They don't have true. They're not friends, but they're friendly. Like they don't have like beef with each other.
It's literally Larry Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, they're. I think that they're friendly and they may even be friends off the court. I don't know, but I mean, when the game starts, there is no love lost between
Yeah,
the two.
yeah. But yeah, that's the NBA. We're gonna hit the NFL draft. We have 4 minutes, so we're just gonna we're gonna take it as slow as possible. No,
the first overall pick.
yeah. So just takeaways from here. Obviously, Bryce Young went 1. Quarterbacks. We'll just start with there. Bryce Young 1. C.J. Stroud 2. Anthony Richardson 4. Will Levis in the 2nd round, and Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round.
Excuse me. Will Levis was also 2. He was just in the 2nd round.
Tell me which of those quarterbacks you think has the best fit, and which of them is going to succeed the most.
Best fit for quarterback is Anthony Richardson. He has the best fit on that team. Especially with the quarterback coach that is with the coach right now. I think that we can really make something good out of Anthony Richardson. Worst fit, Will Levis. He does not work with the Tennessee Titans at all.
What I think is a really... I like Bryce Young. He was the pick. I think he's going to be the best quarterback out of the gate.
Out of the gate, yeah.
Out of the gate. Anthony Richardson is going to take a year or 2 to develop.
I'm going to guess 3. I think we're seeing a Josh Allen. We're going to see a Josh Allen. Josh Allen took 3 years?
He took 2.5-ish.
Yeah.
He was an MVP candidate year 3.
Yeah. Like, he took a little while. People were kind of like, he's middle really. And then he really developed. I think it's going to be the same thing with Anthony Richardson.
But a fit that I really like, as long as the roster construction stays, pretty similar to the way it is now, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. I was happy with that pick.
He plays very similar to Jared Goff.
Don't say that.
He does.
Don't say that.
He plays very similar to Jared Goff. He doesn't have a lot of pocket mobility or presence, but with the Detroit offensive line, he could be very good. That offensive line, as it is now, is very good, and it's going to give Hendon Hooker the time that he needs to diagnose the play. That's what it comes down to. If Hendon Hooker had to start week 1, I think the Lions barely take a step back.
Can we just quickly talk about Stetson Bennett?
Yeah.
4th round. Why? That's
He's got the championship pedigree.
Who did he go to?
Georgia. Won 2 in a row.
No,
the Rams.
Rams. Okay.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time with picks. Oh, you could have waited around for him. You could have waited 7 for Stetson Bennett. No one's taking him. Why did the Rams waste the 4th round?
I don't know. You like your guy, you know?
Yeah.
But real quick, we'll do a little more draft stuff later. No JMU players drafted.
Mm-hmm.
The only news I've seen is Tonson Teo got a rookie camp invite to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So no one's going to make a roster.
Yeah, because they drafted the quarterback from Stanford, so they're not going to take him from the rookie camp unless he
lights it up,
and it's like, oh my God, this could be the next Patrick.
I know you thought a Jay Obase should have been picked up off of UDFA.
I really thought about it.
Yeah.
After I said that, and I was like, you know what? I don't think so. And the reason why is because he's old for a running back.
Right, and I think that's what it is, because he's a big guy, and he's a power back, but he's got 6 years of wear and tear on him.
He has 6 years of wear and tear. This past season, he was injured for part of the season, so he's already getting injuries. And let's be against, albeit worse competition than players in the SEC and other divisions. I mean, I understand it. I really wish he would have, because I really like his game. But I also understand. I wouldn't waste a pick on that. You know?
Not a pick, just an
undrafted that I would have.
Right.
Because I mean, what's the harm? What's the harm? Worst case scenario, you cut him. Best case scenario is you get a really good running back. So.
Last but not least, before we end the show, who did the best? Who did the worst in the draft?
In the draft, I want to hear your pick, Jeremy.
I think the team that did the best is the Seahawks. They got Witherspoon. Wonderful corner. So good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got the best receiver on the board in JSN.
Yep.
You
Which
turn
was the
around,
help that he needed.
and then you turn around, you get Zach Charbonnet in the third.
Mm-hmm.
Solid running back. You know, I've seen a lot of people really high on him. And you already have Kenneth Walker, so you could run a lot of. He's very athletic and good at pass catching. Pretty good. I'm really happy with their draft. I think they killed it. Team that did the worst, I want to say the Rams, because they didn't pick until the 4th round, and then they drafted Stetson Bennett.
With our first pick, it's Stetson Bennett.
I mean, it's not easy to win a draft when you don't have a pick until the 4th round,
Yeah.
So it's not like a real knock against them,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't think they had a good draft.
Shane, what's your best? What's your worst?
I didn't really look too deep into it, so it's like the first round, and then after the first round, I really only cared about who the Vikings got. Vikings did okay, not good, not great. Picking Bijan Robinson with the 8th pick for the Falcons was just really questionable to me.
Yeah.
And then picking the running backs really early by both the Detroit and the Falcons perplexed me.
Yeah. If you just looked at the first round, I think Detroit would have lost. Quite honestly. But
no, because
if
I like our late first round pick.
But if you went out and you looked at their second round picks, they killed it in the second round.
And,
so
we may have done really well in the first round. We don't know about this running.
You're
back.
right. Yeah.
So, with that being said, the team that I think did the best drafting wise was the Eagles.
Yeah, they did real good.
They did incredible.
They did real good.
They did incredible. I mean, they essentially just drafted Georgia Bulldog. So,
and then they got DeAndre
and then
Swift
they traded
too.
for a Georgia Bulldog. The team that did the worst, and the only reason why I say this is because it's a really big what if, is the Panthers. If let's say Bryce Young does not hit, he's just horrible. He's a bust. Then you traded so much stuff away for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, and you really didn't fill out your team with your later picks, for being completely honest. So yeah, I feel like the Panthers did the worst job, because if Bryce Young does not do well, they are really messed up. And then the biggest what if for me is the Bears, because the Bears definitely, I think they situated it in a stance of, we're giving Justin Fields one more year to be that guy. And if he's not that guy, we're going for Caleb next year.
Oh yeah.
So they didn't give him enough assets that really was like, okay, he's our guy. We're definitely going forward with him. They gave just enough that's like, we have given you enough. You need to decide whether you're that guy or not. And if he's not, they're going for Caleb next year. So, there you go.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Triple Threat Show. We will have one more show next Wednesday before the end of the semester. So remember to tune in here, 4 o'clock for that. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my two friends and co-hosts,
Shane Brisland.
Peter Kegwin. We miss you, Caleb.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. Also on YouTube at The Triple Threat Show, on Instagram at The Triple Threat Show, and on Twitter at 3Threat Show. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. We really appreciate it. Good night.